he's going to start pulling you down and making you feel like you're not good enough. You might run huge companies. You might run multiple teams, but it doesn't matter. What matters is to the narcissist, you're not good enough because they don't feel good enough in that moment. What's actually the truth about narcissism? Do they care or do they not care? Because they often say that they care, but it doesn't seem like anything changes. They say that they care, but you're still belittled and you're still put down. Do you feel like your feelings don't matter with the toxic person that you're with? Or maybe you seem like your partner doesn't even seem to acknowledge you, or doesn't even seem to know that you exist or care about your feelings. You might be walking on eggshells to be able to avoid anger or different outbursts that are happening on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you're at the place that you're already making excuses for their abusive behavior. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, change, and development. The founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the Narc app, and your guide in the 45-day Clarity Challenge. You can access at claritychallenge.net. I want to be able to encourage you, if you like what you see here, talking about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and then also my journey inside narcissism, please hit subscribe, hit that notification button so you get notified when we drop new episodes or we go live on the channel. Would love to be able to have you interact and be a part of the community. When we're talking about this aspect of narcissists, people normally wonder, do they actually care? Is this something that they actually care about me? Because you normally figure it out that they've been cheating, lying, like he's been like stepping out on you multiple times over the past 15, 20 years, and you're wondering, was it all a lie? What is actually going on? Well, I want to be able to kind of talk to you about if narcissists actually care and step into emotional abuse, manipulation, if they actually care, a couple of different pieces there. One of the things that you need to understand when you have that question in your mind of, does he actually care about me because of the abusive actions that happen and what's actually real? You need to step back and you need to take a look at what was demonstrated. Oftentimes we don't give enough light to just the word demonstration when we actually talk about narcissistic and abusive relationships. Instead of going off of someone's words of what they said or how they felt or how they expressed something to you, go off of the actual actions. Did this person say that they cared about you, but he was still texting other women? Did this person say that he cared about you, but he was still going out with other people instead of investing in the relationship? Did this person say that they cared about the kids, but he ghosted them for the first 3-4 years of their lives because they didn't really matter to him? You need to put this word demonstrated in front of a lot of different questions that you have, and it starts to provide more clarity about what's actually going on in the situation. But until we get really clear about the situation, it keeps you in this limbo. And it keeps you in this loop of like, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to do, versus looking at the facts of the situation. So we look at demonstrated. How do they demonstrate love, care, respect, honor, loyalty, all those things? And you're looking for the facts of the situation. Because the majority of the time, narcissist doesn't care, and they also don't demonstrate it on any level, but instead step into the realm of emotional abuse, abusing you and making sure that you're put down so they feel better about themselves, so they look good, so they have your money, so they can continue moving on, doing the things that they want to do. When we talk about this aspect of emotional abuse, it's a lot harder to be able to prove or to be able to show. Sometimes it's a lot harder just for you to come to terms with that's what's actually going on, because there's no visible signs. There's no scars. There's no things that are left over. There's no black eyes the next morning that someone can say like, whoa, what happened to you? If there was, there'd be a lot more people understanding and seeing and getting out of emotional abuse because more people would see it going on around them. But we don't. And people don't understand there's multiple people probably intersecting in your life that are getting emotionally abused, but you don't have a clue because they hide it. Because that's what they're trained to do from the toxic person, so that they don't look bad, so they don't air their dirty laundry out to everybody else, so they're isolated from their friends, from their family. Well, with this emotional abuse, a lot of times it stems from criticism, stems from the narcissist blaming you. Did you have that where the narcissist was looking at you and criticizing every single thing that you do? We see this so many times when a narcissist gets with another person that is running a business or is high up in a company. And for instance, like the narcissist, he'll be with that person and he'll start not to feel good about himself. So he's going to start pulling you down and making you feel like you're not good enough. You might run huge companies. You might run multiple teams, but it doesn't matter. What matters is to the narcissist, you're not good enough because they don't feel good enough in that moment. We see this happen all the time. So where a narcissist, he gets with a woman who is in business and she's doing well in business. And he is unsatisfied that she's doing better than him in business. She looks better, she has more connections, she has more money, she has more like business contacts, all this stuff. And then he starts slowly chipping away at her because he's not as good. And there's this thought that actually happens of like, if I get with this person, maybe I will get that status, get that image. And then the narcissist gets with her and he's like, this didn't help. Like business and money and all this status doesn't just come by osmosis and doesn't just come by being with this person. So then now she's better than me, so I need to bring her down to my level. This happens time and time again when you're with a toxic person, is blaming, criticizing, belittling, name calling, gaslighting, doing anything they can to bring you down. We see this multiple times in the emotional abuse of the silent treatment, where you go days without interacting with this person and you live in the same house. You may sleep in the same bed and you still don't have any communication. This feels like you're going insane because the person that you love, the person that has been with you for so many years is now just completely silent. Like you don't even exist. Like you're a bump on a log. Like you're just a rock and they just keep ignoring you every single day. This is done typically purposely to be able to punish you, to be able to train you that what you did, what you said, how you held them accountable wasn't acceptable. And so as a result, they've got to keep you completely silent. Wait till you come back and apologize for their behavior that you tried to hold them accountable in the first place. Were you at the place where you're always getting criticized? Maybe you're getting criticized on like what you wear. Like one person I was talking to would get criticized about what she would wear and she would get gaslit into believing that she was actually wearing stuff that she wasn't even wearing. Like go into these huge arguments and things where he would just constantly berate her, belittle her, put her down. And she'd walk away from the conversation being like, I don't even own that. Like, that's not even something I would wear. And there's this concept of like trying to be able to put the other person down no matter what. Like she would get to the place where she would express her feelings. She would say like, hey, like this is what I'm feeling. Like I don't feel safe in this regard. And it would get thrown back at her. You're irrational. You're crazy. Like you're just blowing this up. You're actually the problem. If it wasn't for you, I would be okay in the relationship. It wasn't for this relationship and how toxic you are, then I would be okay. And a lot of times the narcissist will blame it, will flip it back onto the non-toxic person, the non-narcissistic person, blaming them for their actions. Side note, you need to be able to understand that a trigger is something that is the responsibility of the person who gets triggered. So for a narcissist that says, oh my gosh, you trigger me, you make me do this, that's their responsibility to deal with, not yours. The same thing when the narcissist triggers you, that's your responsibility to work on those too. Which is why we help people on a day-to-day basis rewire their mindset back to truth. To get back to the place of saying, we don't have to be triggered by this person because they no longer control you. They no longer control your thoughts, your emotions, your self-esteem, your self-worth is no longer tied to them, but is found in you. And that's why we work on developing every single day when we work with people as raw motivations, taking them through the challenges or inside the different communities. With this aspect of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, it's helping people get free of the mindset that they're trapped into because you start to question your reality. You start to question what's actually wrong, who's actually wrong. And a lot of times you get to the place where you feel really stupid at home, but you're successful in business, you're successful as a teacher, you're successful as a nurse, you're successful out in regular life, but not at home because of what they do to you, how they make you feel. Well, a lot of the manipulation and control that happens in a narcissist relationship, love bomb, projection, triangulation, all of this is used to control you, to be able to make sure you fit in a box, you comply. So one person I was talking with a while back and like got to the place that like she like fell in love with this one guy. Was super impressed with everything that he did, of all the gifts, all the time, all the attention, tons of compliments, tons of these like trips, tons of these like little small things that she was like, this is amazing. Felt like soulmate, felt like the number one, felt like the person that needed to be in her life until it changed. And this is what happens with the narcissist. They'll love bomb, they'll get you on a high, on that pedestal, and then they'll slowly take it out from underneath you. Then you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? The short answer is you didn't. But they want to make you feel that way. That way you keep coming back and begging for more time and time again. But we had to walk through this concept of like understanding this is what actually happened. Like this is what changed. because you're with a narcissist and you've probably modified or changed like 90% of yourself. Your hobbies, your interests, your friends, your family, your interaction with others, the things you do, this, how you say, how you dress, how you act. You've probably changed a million different things about you, and the toxic, the narcissistic person in your life hasn't changed a thing. But you're left wondering, maybe it's still me. Maybe it's still my fault. Maybe I need to change one more thing and he'll figure it out. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But it feels like that in the moment, which keeps you in a loop. At this point, it's hard to move forward, and it's hard to know who you are because you've been serving that other person for such a long period of time. The same person I was talking to earlier, they came to Raw Motivations to get clarity and help, but then we had to work together to first understand what is narcissistic abuse, like the truth of it, the hard truths that she had to hear about how he didn't care about her, how he was manipulating her. Then we had to start plugging in self-care and get to the place where she could actually receive and like grow in her confidence to be able to see that her husband actually didn't love her and was being extremely abusive and manipulative. The words don't matter. What matters is what they demonstrate. If you're at the place where you're confused, are you with a toxic person? Are you not? Are you unsure? Like, what are they demonstrating on a day-to-day basis? And you want to start stepping free and getting out of that toxic mindset, I want to invite you to go to escapetoxicity.com. Put a link in the bio down below so you can get to it and so you understand how to be able to see what narcissistic abuse is, how you showed up in it, maybe with reactive abuse, maybe feeling crazy, maybe like not understanding who you are and getting trauma bonded to a toxic person. Because I want you to break free. I want you to understand what it is, and I want you to have the tools necessary to break free, to escape, and to move towards a healthy lifestyle. If you guys want to reach out and talk to me, would love to interact with you, would love to help you, provide any answers and any clarity, you can go to rawmotivation.com, click on the one-on-ones. It'd be great to talk to you then.